Mama, Starr, toujours maillot jaune. Voilà pour marquer l'étonnement du ouais. Et à Lomé, on dit oh, à Abidjan, on dit quoi même? Eh bah, eh bah, Jiwa.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckle, your life. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Too much.
Ready, ladies? The Global Lady to Lady Conference is back. And when ladies gather together, changes happen. The Global Lady to Lady Conference is live in London at Fairfield Concert Hall, Croydon, Saturday the 21st of March. That's Fairfield Concert Hall, Park Lane, Croydon, CR9. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. for a 10 a.m. start. Register free at ladytoladyglobal.org or call 020 3983 9394.
Listen to Regina Abban and Lady Caroline every Monday from 5 to 6:30 p.m. on Point at Starr Radio UK, where we educate the youth and young adults on life issues. Hello, London. Good afternoon and welcome to On Point. My name is Regina. Pleasure to have your company this afternoon. Please invite friends, share this program on all your social media platforms so that we can have an exciting program this afternoon. As always, my greetings to all my listeners, my loved ones, my family. The one and only Apostle is in the house producing the program this afternoon. God richly bless you, man of God, and your family, the proprietors of Starr Radio UK. Right, there's a lot happening here in London. The weather is like very windy, very windy this afternoon. The rain, as we've known, there's been few weather warnings in place for over the weekend and it's still ongoing at the moment. So for those of you that are living up north of the country, we are praying for you. Keep warm, wrap up warm, make sure that you stay in safe places and only make the journey if it's absolutely necessary. For our students, our children, please be careful when you go out because the road is slippery. There's a lot of weather warnings in place, so please take heed as you go about your businesses here in the UK. Right, as always, my regards to all those that have tuned in, those that are on social media platforms. Good afternoon to you and welcome. There's an exciting program. I'm excited. Every time I'm here in the studio, I'm just excited. And it just gives me pleasure to be here. My co-host, the one and only Lady C, good afternoon to you. And my greetings to you and your family. And I know that it won't be long before you will show up. Your listeners have missed you, so please. Put yourself together quickly and let's come back together as we do. So this afternoon here on Point, someone is asking, what is this program all about? It's design, it's packaged, and it is for the youth, the young adults especially. They are our passion here with this program. Nevertheless, we know that our listeners spread across all ages, all backgrounds, all cultural and all religious backgrounds. So therefore, this program will touch on all those aspects of our lives. And we will continue to share, educate, encourage, empower, enlighten, and also to learn from others. So please be free to join in with the discussions here in the studio. Our contact numbers as always, 0208 133 2257, 0208 133 2257 or 58. US or Canada 001 718 303 2737. Studio WhatsApp or text line. It's not my personal one. Is the studio one is 075 3966 1744. 075 3966 1744. Tweet at Starr Radio UK and info@starradiouk.com. Those are our contact numbers for this program, for all other programs, for all other businesses. Whatever your business need is, please use that to contact us. Good afternoon to all the presenters this morning. The Starr Radio UK morning show with none other, the one and only Apostle Archie. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all other presenters here on Starr Radio UK. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, we greet you from On Point. Right, so On Point, as I've said, is for the young adults, is for the youth, designed to encourage, empower, educate, and enlighten, and to share information and likewise to learn from them as well. So get your young ones to tune in. This season we're in, we're going to look at our mental health. We're going to look at our mental health as a program, as a topic. We're going to break it down bits and pieces, and we're going to look at different aspects of it. And when we talk about mental health, what is that all about? We've talked about taking aim as the year started and began, and as we are rushing ahead and moving ahead. Please don't leave things to chance. It's something that I'm so passionate about, because whatever we put in today, it's gonna yield fruits, it's gonna bear results. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes you have to do a detour, sometimes you have to drop certain things and introduce new things in order to keep moving and keep achieving, but never to give up. Because if you quit and you drop and you leave and you give up, then you have no one but yourself to blame. So don't give up yet. Don't lose hope. Don't lose heart. Don't be discouraged and don't be disappointed, because you can reappoint. Okay, so when you've got the dates, just cancel the dates and put re there, and it's the same word, reappoint, and then you are moving on, and you are moving on to higher heights and new things to achieve. So don't live in this discouragement. Don't feel like the world is on your shoulders. Throw everything out of the window. Anything you don't like, any negativity, just drop it in a bin. I have an image on my wall, this lady walking out of her office and she has everything in her hand, not looking. She just drops it in the bin and takes a step out of the door. And that's what sometimes you have to do. You have to let go of excess baggage. You have to let go of all the things that didn't quite work or come together as you planned or hoped or designed or thought, and just move on to the next level. Okay? Don't stay on that level. As they say, counting is 1 to 10, and when you start from 11 to 20, it's another level. And you now go into, as they say, double digits. So you can do the same thing with your life. Whatever the situation is, whatever the circumstances, you can just leave one platform, move on to the other platform and a higher one. Never take a step back and stay there. Take a step back in order to approach or enter or reappear, but don't take a step back and stay there and give up. That's not your story. So that's why we are here. So when we talk about mental health, what are we talking about? For most of us, for us that are of mental health background as professionals, it's important to us. And when we talk to young adults, we talk to the youth, sometimes we talk to mothers and fathers, parents, families, uncles, aunties, grandparents. And there's a lot of issues and a lot of concerns, because life can be so stressful. Life can have its own challenges, and sometimes you need someone to talk to. So before I go any further, learn to be a friend to somebody. Okay, learn to be a friend to somebody. Don't just appear in that person's life just to come and listen and gossip and and then before you know it, you're out again and you are gone. Learn to be a friend. Learn to be a friend. And being a friend is not just, as I said, appearing for personal gains or for you to come and do what you want to do, and then after that off you go, and you leave the person in no man's land. Learn to be a friend, learn to listen, learn to, adjust yourself so that people can trust you and be able to relate to you, and for you to be able to relate to people, because life is too short. Life is too short. Often we talk about these things, and we often say life is too short and life is this and life is that, but what we fail to realize is that every time you allow yourself to be a stigma or a thorn in somebody's flesh, or you allow yourself to be, because of you, someone's life or someone's situation or something happens for the wrong reasons, you've got to be careful. You've got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What can I do to change this? So learn to be a friend to somebody. Let people learn to trust you. Let people learn to come to you and be a friend to you, as well as you being a friend to them. It's very important. It's very important. The reason is because when we talk about mental health and we talk, we break it down and we take it further, you will understand where I'm coming from with this understanding or view of being a friend to somebody. We all need someone. As I've always said on this program, we all need someone. Everybody needs somebody in order to be where they are and where they are going. No person is an island. So please try and be a friend. Let someone have the confidence to know that if there is no one out there for them, you will be there for them, and you will listen and you will share and you will hold them when they are falling. So that's why we are looking at our mental health this time, this season that we are in, because we want to, as we've always said, it's a holistic program. We are looking at all aspects of our life. So we talk about taking aim, beginning of the year. We've looked at that, and we know that we cannot allow our life to chance and wait for things to happen. And when we are talking taking aim, we are looking at the positives as well as the negatives. And I've always said that use the negatives as a stepping stone. Sometimes the negatives are there for a purpose. They are good. Don't discard them. But don't let that discourage you, and don't let that make you feel disappointed. Just use those as a stepping stones, if you like, building blocks, if you like, whatever you need in order to move and surge ahead. So what is mental health? What is mental health? It's a big topic, and so we are not going to be able to touch on every aspect and every bit of it just in one program. So bear with us here and bear with me as I bring you bits and pieces, but please feel free to use all the social media platforms for your feedbacks, for your comments, for your questions, and to share ideas of topics that you want us to touch on. We've got a list that we're going to go through. And at the end of it, it may take us a couple of months. It may take us, 3 months. I don't know. But at the end of it, we will try and let someone understand the importance of looking after themselves well. In every aspect, your physical health is equally very important. But a lot of the time, we are all aware of our physical health needs, because the body will break down and the body will tell you that you need help. But when it comes to our mental health, that is our emotional, psychological. Sometimes we leave it even on the, on the background, on the back burner. And we don't often address it enough, and we don't talk about it enough. Even in society, there are certain topics that we don't discuss. We don't want to mention it. We think that it is a taboo. If you say this person or that person is going through this experience or that experience, we are even ashamed to bring that to the public and let people that can be of help. So often we think that it's better for us to keep quiet, sit in our little corner and go through our emotions and let everyone that is close to us suffer, and we also suffer, if not double suffer. So we want to look at mental health. We want to think about it, and I want you to know that your health matters. Okay, or you can say my health matters. And if your health matters and my health matters, then why are we not talking about it? Why are we not being open about it? Why are we not being transparent about it? And all we talk about is our physical health. Don't get me wrong, physical health is important, but as I said, because of symptoms, because of pain, because the body will not let you rest until you do what it's asking you, we are often okay with that. We go to the GP and we, talk about our physical health, and we are okay with that. But often not our mental health, because even people are afraid that when they go to the GP, or shall I not use the word afraid, people are very cautious, because when they go to the GP and they talk about mental health, they are worried it's going to stay on their record, and therefore because of that they often don't talk about it. The young men are at high risk in terms of suicide and other mental health problems. So these are the things why we want to talk about our mental health for this season that we are in, so that someone out there would know that there is a helping hand. Please don't suffer in silence. Don't be on your own and think that the world is caving in on you and there is no way out. There is a way out, if only you reach out to the right people and for the right reasons. Don't be ashamed of whatever is going on, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because there is help out there. Here in the UK, there is a national help and there's national program, and mental health is well addressed in terms of the publicity surrounding the issue. There's a lot of information, but there's also a lot of stigma. And because of the stigma, often people are not talking about it. And we need to talk about it. It's important, because without, you cannot have a half health and be functioning at your optimum level. You cannot. Even stress is part of mental health management. And if you are overstressed, be it because of finances, be it because of social needs, be it because of whatever the ongoing problem is, if you are stressed and you are not managing your stress levels very well, it can affect you. You can break down. You only have one body. More importantly, you only have one mind. Often the statement is that if you lose a limb, you still have another limb to carry on, or you can get replacement limbs made out of plastics and whatnot. But if you lose, as they say, the brain, there's no replacement. You cannot replace the brain. Once it's damaged, it's gone, and you cannot retrieve, you cannot repair, you cannot do anything with it. So we are going to look at our mental health. We're going to talk about it. We're going to open this book and let people know and see what is out there. The studio lines once again, 0208 133 2257. So what is mental health? What is mental health? Mental health basically is anything that affects the mind. Okay, anything that affects the mind. So it's your mental well-being. How well your mental health is when we talk about mental health. As I said, when it comes to physical health, people know when your eye is paining you, you know your eye is paining you. When you have a headache, you can feel it. But what about your mental health? How would you know that your mind is not as healthy as it can be or should be? So, why do we talk about mental health? Because when we talk about mental health, and as I said, it's because we don't see it, and because you don't often feel it for some time. You may not even know that you're going through something and it's affecting your minds. Often it's at the latter stages of things, or sometimes when it's left unattended, untreated, unaddressed, and no one, acknowledges it, and it's kind of put on a back burner. It's often when things have gone too far, in some cases, is when you realize that you need help and you need support. And that's why we are here, because we don't want you to leave it till that stage. So when we talk about mental health, we are looking at health problems of the brain, or health problems that affects the brain. And the brain is the center of everything this body does. The brain is the center of everything this body does. Your decision making, your perception, your understanding, the ability to open your eyes, the ability to move from A to B. It's all controlled by the brain. It's all designed, engineered from the brain. The body is connected in such a way that the hands will send signals to the brain will digest that signal, and then the body carries it out. So mental health is important. My health is important. Your health matters. So it's important we look at mental health, and that's why we are here. As young adults, as the youth, there are so many challenges, peer group pressure, things that people would, negatively impact or cause you to think about. And if you are not careful, it has impact or influences on how we think, how we decide, how we, make decisions and move on or don't move on, and when we stop or start. All these things are affected by our mental health. So as a young adult, there are issues regarding our weight, our height, our size, all those things, and it can affect us in all our daily living. When it comes to those of us that, the young adults that are at university or educational institution, you are mixing with a world of people that are from different backgrounds, intellectual differences. Some are ahead, some are here, and there's always someone comparing themselves and trying to compete with you. Sometimes you are not even in competition with them. You have not asked for that competition. But a remark, a statement, something that someone will say will catch your attention somewhat. And if your mental health is not intact, it may affect you negatively. So that's why this program is here this afternoon. Welcome to On Point. As I said, my name is Regina. Share this on all the social media platforms and invite your friends, invite your family, invite loved ones to be part of the program this afternoon, because it's important that we look at our mental health. So, as I said, you only have the one brain. That's all you've got. Believe you me, you cannot get a spare one. As I said, if you lose a limb, even if you lose one eye, you still have another eye and you can carry on. But if you lose your mind, as they say, if you lose your mind, and we will look at some spiritual, from the Bible, some figures that things didn't quite go as they planned and what their responses were, and bring it to look at our daily life and how we apply some of these principles in our life and how we learn from them as well. Because you need to speak up, hold your hand up and say, I'm in pain here. Some of this pain that we go through in terms of our mental health is it's not felt the way a physical pain is felt. It be different. Sometimes we kind of attribute it to certain things in our life or certain things that's going on instead of dealing with the actual thing. We are not dealing with it, and then we kind of channel it differently and maybe explain it differently and talk about it differently. But the reality is the mental health, and it's important. We have some great people in social media, in the public eye, in the public domain, who have struggled with mental health problems for a very long time. And at the moment, because of treatment, because they have acknowledged it and they know where they are able to continue to live their life daily. It's better to get help early than to suffer in silence, struggle along, and then it becomes something else. So if you are listening to me this afternoon, wherever from, please be informed. There is help out there. So much help that you can get. There are so many charity organizations. There's a national health line that you can ring someone and say, you know what, I need help. And oftentimes you don't even have to go into much details. They are skilled enough to talk to you, to help you, and to point you in the right direction as to what you can do. Okay, so making better choices, making decisions, being able to manage your life, being able to live every day requires you to have a very stable and strong understanding of your mental health. Okay, So being able to make your decisions, your life decisions, the life choices that you're going to make. And life is full of choices. So all the decisions you're making on a daily basis, or the choices that you're making on a daily basis, and all the information that you're receiving on a daily basis requires you to have a very strong, stable mental health base for you to be able to function. As I said, people will come your way, share information, make comments, maybe do things that, you know, can lead you to so many different ways of thinking. But if you have a very strong mental health understanding of who you are, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, then you are able to make decisions that are better for you, and not because someone is, you know, encouraging you to do this or to do that. It's very important, because often, sometimes, even when people are asking you to do things, it's not because they want you to do it for your betterment. Sometimes it's because they want to better themselves, and because they want to, as they say and the word goes, use you to get better themselves, they will manipulate you. And manipulation is a form of mental health, you know, and it can affect you negatively long term. It comes under the word domestic abuse. It's a big word, and there's a whole lot that goes on. So manipulation can be a form of mental health, and it can affect you. It can affect you because people will manipulate you through whatever means they feel. Maybe as a teenager, as a young adult, as a youth, you are in love with them, and you know, you want to be with them, and they will manipulate you through that. The power of love, because they know you love them, they want to get you to do all manner of things, and do all things that you are not personally happy with or wanting to engage with. So these are the things we are going to look at. And it's important you know who you are. Important you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. Sometimes it doesn't have to feel right. If your mind tells you it's wrong, believe you me, as they say, trust your intuition. Believe your intuition and know that something is not quite right. There's no harm in saying, you know what, I've got to go and think about this and I'll get back to you. There's no harm in doing that. Don't let anybody put you under pressure to do something that you're not happy to do. After all, the consequences is coming back to you. You will be accountable for your actions. So it is coming back to you. And therefore, because it's coming back to you, you have to be comfortable with it. You have to understand the pros and cons and the decisions that you're making. So don't let anybody put you under pressure to do anything for the sake of something that they are going to benefit from. And therefore, at the end of the day, you will live to regret because you made a poor decision. No, as a listener of this program, we want to empower you. We want to encourage you. Understand who you are. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. There's no harm in saying, I don't have the information. I don't understand this. Especially when you don't understand something. Don't just cave in. Don't just give in. Sometimes it's good to take a step back. Say, you know what, I need time to think about this and I will get back to you. Be bold enough. Be assertive enough. Be, strong enough to say, I am going to get back to you. They may not like it. They may not be happy with it. They may even not want to come back to you. But that's okay, because that's one battle you've won and you are moving on headstrong. Okay? So, wherever your background is, wherever you are listening to me from this afternoon, know that there is help out there. Don't let people manipulate you. I've gone ahead of myself and moved into manipulation so quickly. But let me go back and take things from beginning. So, how healthy you are. As we know, the body is made of spirit, soul, mind, and body. So there are different aspects to you. You are not just a living being breathing. No. You have an internal part of you that even you yourself haven't seen before. And that's another topic and another subject for another day. But understanding that there is a mind part of you, a soulish part of you, and a body part of you. And these things are coming together to form who you are. And who you are reflects the decisions that you're making. It reflects the life that you're leading, and it reflects the things you engage with. And that's why it's important for you to know who you are. If you are still discovering yourself, it's still a good time for you to sit down and analyze. What are your likes and dislikes? What are the things that you are susceptible to, you take for granted? Where are the things that gives you joy? What gives you joy and what makes you happy? Because happy is things that are happening around you, and when things are not happening around you, I'm not happy. So think about that too. But what gives you joy? What gives you satisfaction? What gives you pleasure in life? Think about it. Is it the material things around you, or is it something that is within you? You can go home, put your feet up and say, I'm happy. I'm really happy. I am at peace with myself. Someone will say, I'm contented. This is what we're talking about. So your mental health matters. It matters to me. It should matter to you. So my health matters. This is what we're going to look at. So as I said, what is mental health? It's basically the well-being of your mind and the decisions that you're making and the things that you're engaging with and the places that you are going and where you are not going, all those kind of things. It also looks at, there's a whole heap of lists where we talk about mental health. We are looking at your emotional and psychological well-being. So psychological well-being is looking at how you're thinking, how you're interpreting information, how you're receiving information, and how you are applying all of this. So receiving information, breaking it down, and applying it. These are the things that you're looking at. And it can be a problem. It can be a problem. So sometimes you need to understand it and you need to know what this is all about. If not, then obviously you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. We've heard the word perception a lot, and we talk about it, and we talk about perspective and how things are. Sometimes we say communication is essential in every aspect of our life. How you're communicating and how you're receiving is very important. It's very, very important, because when someone says something, and sometimes we all make these mistakes. I'm at fault, you are at fault. Let's all hold our hands up and say we've fallen short. Sometimes you'll be saying something, but because of what's on your mind, even the information that is coming out is not what you are intending to say. Do you get what I'm saying? You may be talking to XYZ and you think you're talking about oranges, for example. Meanwhile, because you have mangoes on your mind, all the statements you are making, you're using the word mangoes. Don't tell me you haven't done that before. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. But it goes to show that when you are multitasking, you can make mistakes sometimes, or you may not be, equally as good as you can be on all fronts. So there might be bits that might not be quite not there. So you may be talking about mangoes and you're thinking oranges, and you're thinking, oh, I need to go and get this, I need to go and get that. But all the information you're sharing is about something else. So the recipient is decoding the information based on the message that they are receiving. And when they decode the message that way, and then they act upon it, and you come back, let's say a few hours later or weeks later, and you say to yourself, no, but that's not what I said. And the person is saying, this is what you said. And you're thinking, no, that's not what I said. That's what I'm talking about. So communication is a special skill that we all have to work hard at and be able to, deliver messages and check messages. Because once you say something, you have to check if the person has understood what you're saying to the same extent that you mean for the person to, understand it. And sometimes you have to take things from basics. It's not the same. We are all not the same in terms of how we even decode information. Some people are very quick, and we say they are smart. They can, before you finish a statement, they even know what you're talking about. And others, you need time. You may have to repeat it. You may have to write it down. You may have to even use what we call communication aids in order to communicate with some people. And that helps the person to understand, so that both parties are singing from the same page. And sometimes we don't do this so well, and it affects us. So as an individual, where your mental health matters, you need to understand what's going on in your environment, be able to communicate with people so that they understand you from that angle and able to work with you from that level. And oftentimes, and sometimes, unfortunately, where relationships are concerned, where parental relationships are concerned, so parent and children, it can be a problem, especially when you have a teenager like I do. And you know, the teenagers know their left, they know their right, they know their center, their front, their back. They are all inclusive. And you as a parent, you are navigating all these waters. You have your own perception, you have your own understanding, and yet you are also having to, you know, accept their level and their understanding of the world they are interacting with. So it's not an easy task for you to be able to know how to communicate effectively with your young adult and what their mental health or their mental well-being means to them. But it's important as a parent that you take a step back and you listen to them and you allow them to express themselves. I'm all for that. Allow the children to develop as best as they can within some fine and firm boundaries, okay? But don't suppress them, because it affects their mental health. When you suppress somebody, when you put too much pressure on somebody, even as a parent, you are suppressing the growth and the well-being of that child or that person you're bringing up. So it's important. And likewise in relationships, you know, husband and wife, wife and husband, please allow people to be themselves. Allow them to be themselves. I have a few quotes that we will go through, and that's why I started by saying learn to be a friend. It's not a friend to criticize, but a friend who has your back, a friend who is there to encourage you, a friend who is there to support you. The world is full of too much negativity. You don't have to go far and you see it all around you. But for your mental health and the mental health of the people you're coming in contact with on a daily basis, learn to be a friend. Learn to allow people to be themselves. We all go through, especially in the circles of church, we have too much plastic going on. You know what I mean? Plastic. Do you know what I mean? When I talk about plastic, you know, these plastic cards we have with for our accounts, our bank accounts, they are not the real thing. The money is stashed up somewhere else. But because you have a plastic, you can buy and sell. You can do any purchases you want. And you can live your life without actually carrying physical cash in your hand. So it's like that. When we go to church, when we are in social, you know, gatherings, we've all got our plastics on. Just as you walk around with about 5 credit cards and 10 bank cards or whatever, how many bank cards you have in your pocket, so are people. Okay, so often this is what is happening. And then when that happens, everywhere we go, we kind of have a plastic. We show people which side we want to show them. We want, when we are in circle D, maybe we have the gold credit card kind of plastic. And we pretend everything is okay, and then we display. And then when we are in circle D, maybe we have the black one, the platinum one, I don't know. But we all go around about our business with some kind of plastic on our faces and in our lives, and we flaunt our stuff and we do what we want to do, and you know. But when we go home, then what happens? That's the question I want you to stop, think, and answer. What happens when you close that door? As a family, what's going on? What are you up to? Are you having that family discussion as a Christian family, they say a family that prays together stays together. Yes, a family that eats together, the British will say, a family that eats together stays together. That's why it's important, because around the dinner table we can have a few discussions, we can talk about a few things, we are able to kind of share ideas and exchange information, listen to one another, and be able to encourage and empower one another. So a family that is together stays together. That's why it's important. You see, we think about dining, and when we are in a family where one comes in, one goes out, hardly do we find time to sit, listen to one another. It matters. Your health matters. It's not just about making money. It's not just about everybody being left to do what they want to do. It's about us staying together as a family unit. And it's important, because if I need you and you are not there, it is hard for me. It can be hard for me if I cannot connect with you, if I don't understand what you're going through and you don't understand what I'm going through or what I'm saying. It is hard for us as a family, as a unit, to stay together. But when we can connect with one another, and when we talk about the connection, the mental health aspect is what we are looking at the moment. The social aspect, we will talk about that another time, or even as we discuss the mental health, I'm sure aspects of it will crop up and we will touch on it. But being able to connect with one another at an emotional level, psychological level, intellectual level is so important. The family unit, there are various people, various personalities that are coming together to form that family unit. How do we understand each other? How do we relate with one another? How do we accommodate one another? How do we show love towards one another? And we talk about these things and we take it for granted, but it forms part of our mental health. It makes us who we are, or sometimes it can break us and make us. So it's important that we know as a family where we all are. It's so important. It gives me joy when I see and I'm able to share stories and be part of family units that are working together. That doesn't mean everything in that family is perfect. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. But when people are able to make adjustments, when people are able to be flexible enough, understanding enough, be accommodating enough, i.e., not always putting your needs ahead of somebody else, but allowing other people to take the lead sometimes and putting their needs first, so that as a family we can continue to move forward. It's important. Your health matters. Your mental health matters. Sometimes I would say even your mental health matters more than your physical health, depending upon what you're looking at. Because when the heart stops, there's no point, the brain will eventually go as well. But your mental health matters, because if the mind is okay, the body can fight and recover. So your mental health matters. It's important. It's very important that you know this, because life is full of decisions, positive, negatives, pros and cons. How are you even going to weigh those pros and cons? How are you going to understand those? How are you going to make those right judgment call? How are you going to make those judgments if your mental health is not intact? If your understanding is not intact? If you're not doing things that you're supposed to do? Well, you need to check. Sometimes even your mental health can affect your eating and your drinking. Okay, and that's another topic again. But if you don't feel that you have a good appetite and you don't want to eat for whatever reason, some young adults especially this goes for the teenagers, there's so many eating disorders out there, and it's a mental health problem. Why? Because society has a level of expectations on how young, both men and women, it's not just women, but I think in terms of eating disorders, it's predominantly women. Women are more at risk than men. But the men, there are young boys and young men out there who also have pressure on the way they want to look and appear, and therefore eating disorders can affect both genders. But please don't suffer in silence. I cannot say that enough. I cannot say that enough. In society these days, we even have pressure when it comes to your appearance. The kind of trainers you have, the kind of clothes you're wearing, all these things are factors. Sometimes because mommy or daddy is not able to provide those things, it affects us. It affects the way we function. We feel it like in society, we don't feel a sense of belonging. We feel we don't belong there. We feel we are left behind. And we wonder, when are we going to progress? Because of trainers, because of an outfit. I'm not underestimating the importance of it. I get it. I do get it. You do need, to fit into a status quo, so to speak. But we have to understand the reasons behind that. Why do you feel you need to fit into that status quo? Why is it so important that you must have the designer, the most expensive brands, even though the family unit cannot afford those kind of things? And because it's not been given to you, it's affecting your mental health so negatively that you're not functioning at your optimum level or your best level. No. So we need to talk about these things. We need to talk about these things, and we need to understand that there are alternatives. There are, different things that we can do when it comes to certain aspects of our daily living in order to continue. As long as you have clothes on your back and you are not walking the street naked, because the police will arrest you if you do. So as long as you have clothes on your back, and it may not be the top brand that you wanted, it's still a brand that you're wearing. And that's what I'm saying. We need to understand our mental health. Why do you want the top brand? Why must it be the most expensive one in order for you to feel good and feel that you belong, and for you to feel that accepted? No. For all you know, no one is even looking at that brand you're wearing. For all you know. And these brands excuse me, and these brands can change very quickly. They change very quickly. The top brand today is history tomorrow. So think about these things when it comes to putting pressure on us parents, the young adults out there. Think about these things when it comes to putting pressure on us, the parents, to buy you these expensive things. Sometimes it's not that we don't want to buy them, but we simply cannot afford it. So we need to know these things. So your mental health matters. The amount of sleep you're getting every day. Some people are sleeping too much and perhaps sleeping their life away. Yes, it can be a form of mental health problem, which is associated with depression. So some people are sleeping too much and sleeping their life away, don't want to do anything. Their motivation level is so low. It's a form of mental health illness. Lacking motivation, lacking the ability to engage with anything. Always fault finding. Always fault finding. You live in a house and everybody in the house is wrong, and you are the only person who is right in that household. You have to think about it. Is it because it's what they call personality disorder, or issues to do with inferiority complex, these bits and pieces? You are the only person in the house who is right. Everybody else is wrong. And even when people from outside that have a different perspective come in to talk about the issue, still you are the only person who is right and everybody else is wrong. And if people cannot conform to your views, then so be it. Is there something wrong? Do we need to reevaluate that mindset, that attitude, that mentality, that mental health? Do we need to? All of us need to sit down and analyze this thing. So that's why this program is here. As always, we are here to share information, educate, train, empower, and encourage. We will do this stage by stage. We will look at it, and I'm going to start from the top and break it down, and I'm going to talk about a lot of things, especially, as I say, because this program is designed for the young adults. I want to start, and so next week we're going to look at the topic alcohol abuse among young adults. Okay, I understand if you want to drink, as they say, but I want you to know, not only are you drinking your life away, but there are physical health issues associated with that and long-term mental health problems. Because in society, people are saying alcohol is good. You need a little bit of it here and there. The problem with that, we will look at it next week. So bear that in mind. Invite somebody. Bring somebody along and let someone come and share their story, their information, even their history of engaging with alcohol for so long a period. What the benefits are, what the pros are, what the cons are. And let's look at that. But today we are looking at, in general, our mental health and why we need to talk about our mental health. So much stigma, so much stigma, so much stigma out there. And so much happening in society that can be attributed to our mental health. And when it's not well addressed, when it's not well acknowledged, when it's not well treated, there can be so many issues that affect not only us, but affects everybody around us. Let me take a quick 2 minutes commercial break. I will be right back. Don't go away. My name is Regina. This is On Point, and we are looking at my health matters. My mental health matters, and yours matters too. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Please share and invite somebody to be part of us this afternoon.
Listen to Regina Abban and Lady Caroline every Monday from 5 to 6:30 p.m. on Point at Starr Radio UK, where we educate the youth and young adults on life issues.
Hey, pump it up. Come on. Where my dancers at? I am. My hands, my feet, my whole body. All that I get. I sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah to you. My hands, my feet, come on now. My whole body. All that I get. Good God. I'll sing hallelujah to you. We're gonna chant the name of Jesus. Who keeps blessing you? Jesus. Come on. Jesus. Who keeps blessing you? Jesus. Let me hear you. Jesus. Who keeps healing your body? Jesus. Jesus. Who keeps raising you? Jesus. Oh my God. Jesus. My hands. Oh yeah, no. My feet. Oh yeah, no. My whole body. All that I am. We sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Somebody say yes. Tell your neighbor. I will. Why not? Join me, give him a dance. Why not? Let us give him a dance for everything that he's done. I will. Give him a dance. Join me, give him a dance. Let us give him a dance for everything that he's done. I will. Give him a dance. Why not? Join me, give him a dance. Why not? Let us give him a dance for everything that he's done. I will. Give him a dance. Come on. Join me, give him a dance. Why not?
Hi there, this is CJ Buckler, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Hello everyone, my name is Veronica Selby, co-founder of the award-winning Ghana of Dubai Initiative. When I'm in London, I always listen to Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready, ladies? The Global Lady to Lady Conference is back. And when ladies gather together, changes happen. The Global Lady to Lady Conference is live in London at Fairfield Concert Hall, Croydon, Saturday the 21st of March. That's Fairfield Concert Hall, Park Lane, Croydon, CR9. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. for a 10 a.m. start. Register free at ladytoladyglobal.org or call 020 3983 9394.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to On Point. My name is Regina. This afternoon, we are looking at mental health. My mental health matters, and my health matters, and your mental health matters. That's what we are looking at this afternoon. So we are doing a general introduction to the topic, and for the next few weeks, I don't know, months, we are going to look at mental health. We're going to touch on different aspects of our mental health because it's important. We need to be aware of it. There's stigma. There's so much going on in society, and there's so much said and unsaid. But the most important person in all of this is you. It doesn't matter what's happening anywhere else but you. How is your mental health? How are you looking after your mental health as well as your emotional, psychological health? How are you looking after it? Are you doing all that you can to make sure that you're okay? Because anything or things can tip you over. But if you're stable and you have a stable base and able to make the decisions, the judgment call, that everything that you need to do, you're able to do it and do it well. It doesn't mean you will not fail or you will not miss a mark or, misunderstand something. But at least you put things in perspective and you're able to understand it, to the best of your ability. And it doesn't affect you to the point where you will have what they call a breakdown. That is what we're talking about. Sometimes some of us may have to go and seek external help, and we will look at that as well. And the stigma associated with that. Talking therapy, and as they say in the States, you're going to see a shrink, and that was a big hoo-ha in the early part of some years ago. If you talk about having therapy, and even now if you tell somebody I'm having therapy, people look at you thinking but it is an avenue, and as I've said, there's so much help out there. So don't suffer in silence. Whatever stage you are, whatever you're going through, whatever is happening around you, you can get help. Please hold your hand up, get that help you need in order for you to continue to live your life. You are important to the world, to the society, and you are important for your family. So we don't want you to go too soon. So mental health is looking at your emotional and your psychological well-being. Everything is well. It doesn't mean things will not surprise you. But even if it surprises you, you still have a stable base. You can sometimes fall on your face flat, but still rise. And as you continue to rise and continue to move on and do what you need to do, that is what is important, and it's what will stand you in good stead. So mental health, why are we talking about mental health? Why? Because as I said, we don't talk about it well enough. We don't say it well enough. Not in our churches, not in our communities, not in our community centers. Wherever we go, we are not talking about mental health. We talk about it when people have things, physical health conditions. We talk a lot about cancers. We talk a lot about diabetes. We talk a lot about blood pressure. We talk a lot about other physical health conditions. We can see when someone has a limb broken or chopped, or somebody walks in right now into the studio with clutches. I can see physically they are handicapped in a way, and there's something that's not quite right with them, especially when I know them not to be walking with clutches, and all of a sudden they walk through the door and they've got clutches and they are limping, or something is not right. Or if they walk through the door and they've got a bandage on and they've wrapped part of their body, even their head. When you have a head injury, they can put a bandage on it for you, and therefore it's obvious. You can see that, and you're able to identify with it. You ask questions and they will tell you what has happened, and you say, oh, I'm sorry. What about mental health? How would you see when my mental health is not intact? When I'm not all there, how would you know? How can you tell when I'm not mentally stable and my mental health is not all there? How would you be able to tell? I'm laughing because there's a story in my head, but I won't share it just yet because it will come in its own place. It will come. When you meet somebody on the road and you suss them up, I'm telling you, the person is well dressed or well presented. Everything is in place. The producer, and everything is in place, and you're thinking, that looks good. Is it all good? How would you know? How would you know? There's a form of mental health when the person is experiencing or they are having a crisis. They dress so well, elegantly well, and you think everything is okay. You've got to be careful. So that's why we are going to look at mental health, and we are going to look at it. And as I said, you wouldn't know. But if the person walked in with clutches, you will know that there's something wrong with them physically. And either you will sympathize or you will find out what's going on. But when you meet the person and they are dressed very well and they have their plastic smile on and they are happy and they are laughing and they are giggling and they are jumping up and down, going around everywhere, doing everything like they are the most eccentric person in town, do you know their mental health? You know, there are writers, and we will touch on it. There are some writers in history that had issues with mental health, but they function well. So even if you have issues with mental health, it's not the end of your life, or it's not the end of the world. You can function well as long as you address it. And that's why we are doing mental health. As long as you know your stable base to function from. Some of us from my community, I wouldn't even use the word culture because culture is so broad. From my community, some of us, all we know to do is to mingle and get involved in other people's business for the sake of sharing information. We are hotter than BBC breaking news. Have you questioned yourself? Are they mentally okay, functioning at their level? You know, some people have this vibe and they need adrenaline, and they need to feed that kind of adrenaline, and they need that in order to even be able to think. When they wake up in the morning and they don't go and check what's happening so that they can ring 20 people in order to let those 20 people know that something is happening next door, there's something going on. Some people, that's how they thrive. They make people's business their business in order to thrive. Is that mental health problems, or is that stable? As I said, I'm not going to dive too deep, so I'm touching on the surfaces so that we can take our time. Sometimes, some of us, we spend a lot of money unnecessarily. Impulse buying. It comes under a form of mental health, and we will touch on that also. And some of us, we must live like the Joneses, even though we are not there yet. We may be the Smiths and below the Smiths, for example. This has no bearing to anybody known Smith or Jones. It's just a phrase, it's a figure of speech. So please don't come and sue Star Radio UK. That's the disclaimer right there. But we try to live, looking at this program they do on telly. They used to do on telly. Hyacinth Bouquet. Always wanting to know what is happening next door, and always wanting to serve tea in pure China, so that she can tell you that the cup you are drinking from is made of China. So put it down so that you don't break it. How are you supposed to drink your tea when the cup is on the table? And we tend to want to do this, compare notes, live above our means, beyond our means, trying to have a society status that some of us, not all, some of us, we are not there yet. We don't even have any business wanting to do that or live like that. But we do. We do out of ignorance. We do out of pressure. We do because we have a label that we want to be seen as. And that's why social media, there's all kinds of things happening on social media now. Terminologies beyond belief. Slay queen, slay king, slay that, slay this. Have we checked our mental health lately? We will look at that. We will look at that. Some of us, everything we do must be on social media. We live and thrive because of social media. Are we okay? That's all I'm asking. Are you okay? It doesn't mean everybody doing it, there's something wrong. Please don't get me wrong. Some people are doing it for the right reason. I recently watched a program, entrepreneurs and people from the Black community, and how people have worked hard to be where they are, and how they use the social media to make billions, create businesses that are lasting legacies beyond their, themselves. Yet other people are using the same platforms, the same means of internet, and they are doing things they call slay queen, and this queen and that queen and this and that, and on social media you see people exchanging blows physically with their mouth. And where is that leading us? Where is that taking us? How is your mental health? Are you okay? We will touch on it. We will look at it, because not everything you do in your house must be on social media. Do you know that? Are you aware of that? That's not why social media is there. And that's why for me, certain things I don't bother to even look at, because it's not going to add value to me. It's not going to take anything away from me. It's going to take my time. I don't have the time to spend looking at your whatever you are doing in your house. It means nothing to me. Yes, it might mean something to somebody, but even children as young as 6 and 8 are using the internet to create more multi-billion-dollar businesses. And you, a 40-something, a 50-something, a 20-something, a 30-something-year-old person, you are using the internet to cause abuse and do things that will not add value to you or give you any legacy worth talking about. So we will address all these things in bits and pieces. But next week we are going to kick off with alcohol, the use and abuse of alcohol among the adults, among the young adults, among our youth, and the implications. It may take 3 or 4 programs for us to go through that process, and we will bring the panelists here to come and share a bit of information. And therefore, if you want to be part of the program, please don't miss us and don't miss the program. We are always here every Monday from 5 p.m. To 6:30 6:30 London or UK time. So please join us every evening and we will discuss this. We will talk about it. Is your mental health intact? Do you need help? Are you depressed? Are you going through some stress and you just need someone to help you through this? Sometimes financial stress can even affect the way you think, plan, your perception, your decision making. It's a big topic and we will touch on some of them. My name is Regina. This afternoon, I have been honest and transparent with you. I want you to be honest and transparent with yourself. Ask yourself a few questions. Answer them honestly. Asking questions and not getting answers is not good enough. It's good to ask questions, but you must find solutions. You must find the answers. You must take the necessary step to address those questions and resolve them successfully, because otherwise there's no point. There's no point. And don't carrying on when there are issues, when there are things that you cannot manage. Please raise your hand up and say to somebody, I need help. Don't be embarrassed. You are important. Don't worry about the people left or right behind you. And when you watch films like, some old time films, movies like, from certain eras, they call the people in front of them and they say to them, what's your name? what is going on with you. And people are not embarrassed to share their information in public because it's important for the next stage of their life. And that is what I'm talking about when it comes to mental health. Don't suffer where you are now. It's important you get the help you need so that the next stage of your life you'll be able to excel and move on and carry on. And you will live through that and it will not overwhelm you. So have a blessed week. I will be here next week. I'm already excited and I know you will be too. Thank you once again to my producer Apostle Archie this afternoon. May the Lord richly bless you and the rest of the team here at Starr Radio UK. I'll see you next week. Have a pleasant week. Bye for now.
This is who you are.